Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Tuesday. We're 2 days away now from Arsenal taking on Manchester United at Old Trafford. Big game for both clubs. Actually, Mikel Arteta will be doing a press conference tomorrow at London Colney. I will be there for the first time in, I don't know what it is, 2 years, just under 2 years. Written media are being invited, or some members of the written media are being invited to London Colney for an in-person press conference rather than just on Zoom, and I will be there at 9 a.m, which is going to be quite a strange experience being back there, given it's been so long since we've been there. So yeah, looking forward to that one. Mikel speaking at 9 o'clock. We'll give updates on team news, that sort of stuff. Obviously, there'll be some questions about Bukayo Saka's fitness. Will he be involved after going off at the weekend against Newcastle? A big game for both clubs in that one. Doesn't look like Ralph Rangnick is going to be in charge for Manchester United. Obviously, he was confirmed as the interim manager yesterday by United, but they are still working through the necessary sort of paperwork for him to actually be physically there in charge of the game. It doesn't look like they're going to get that done in time. They've got work permit issues. They've got the sort of COVID restriction issues as well at the moment, and it doesn't look like he's going to be in charge. So it looks like Michael Carrick will once again be the man leading Manchester United on Thursday night. So Arsenal don't really have that sort of new manager bounce thing to deal with, like it looked like they were probably going to, with Ralph Rangnick actually sort of physically being there and leading the team and sort of stirring the crowd up a little bit. So that's a bit of a boost for Arsenal. It'd be great if they could go to Old Trafford and get the win just like they did last season. Actually haven't been beaten there for the last couple of seasons. It was a 1-1 draw the year before that, wasn't it? And then winning 1-0 last year with Auba's penalty. God, how they would love to repeat that tomorrow. It's around Thursday night. So yeah, keep an eye out for all the updates from Mikel Arteta's press conference tomorrow morning. That is at 9 o'clock at London Colney. In terms of that game against Manchester United, I just wanted to talk a little bit about who possibly could start in that one, because there's a couple of real sort of question marks, I would say, going into that. I mean, obviously you got Nuno Tavares and Kieran Tierney. Who starts at left back? I was really surprised that Tierney didn't start against Newcastle. I was convinced he was going to come back in, and Tavares, who'd struggled obviously against Liverpool, was going to be given a little bit of a breather. Mikel stuck with Tavares, as he did with Sambi Lokonga in central midfield, and Tavares was excellent. A little bit wasteful in the first half, a little bit sort of poor decision making at times, a bit wild with those shots he was having. This was about 10-minute period, wasn't it? About 4 or 5 from distance that went high and wide, and was winding everyone up a little bit. But second half he was great, got the assist, was always a threat. And so yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Again, does he stick with Tavares or does he bring back Kieran Tierney? Now Tierney, I think we all thought, absolutely guaranteed first choice, one of the first names on the team sheet, but the form of Nuno Tavares has certainly changed that now, and given how he played against Newcastle, you would think it's probably going to be Tavares again. I'd be surprised now. I might be wrong, just as I was at the weekend when I thought Tierney would come back in. But right now, you kind of look at it and think, can you drop Nuno Tavares after that sort of performance at the weekend? You probably can't. If you don't drop him after Liverpool when he struggled, it'd be a bit difficult to drop him after Newcastle when he played really well and got a lot of praise. So I think that's a real key one for Arteta. What do you do with Tavares? Do you play him or do you rest him or bring him out? And then what do you do sort of going forward? Lacazette came out of the team at the weekend and Martin Odegaard came back in. I saw quite a bit of criticism for Odegaard after that game. I didn't actually think he did too badly. I thought he was pretty quiet in the first half, but everyone was. I thought in the second half he was much improved at Martin Odegaard, as Arsenal were. He was finding a lot more space. He was pulling the strings a little bit. Obviously, he wasn't heavily involved in anything in the sort of final third, which is what you want him to be as a playmaker, as a number 10. You want him to really sort of be in and around that penalty area. Didn't really happen, but he certainly got on the ball and was an influence in the second half. So I didn't think it was dreadful. It was just a pretty average performance from him. So it's what do you do at Old Trafford? Do you bring Lacazette back in and sort of play him with Aubameyang as he did at Anfield? Maybe leave yourself a little bit open, or do you stick with Martin Odegaard now and give him another go in that number 10 role? Personally, I think he probably sticks with Odegaard for this one. I think he'll keep his place in the team, and Lacazette will be on the bench. It gives you an extra sort of body in the central roles, maybe a little bit more defensive minded than Lacazette as well, so they can sort of drop in and help out Sambi and Thomas Partey. But then what do you do if Bukayo Saka's not fit? And we haven't had any update, and I haven't had any news on it yet. He had his scan yesterday, so we're still waiting to find out. It hasn't emerged yet what's going on with Bukayo Saka and whether he could be involved. I mean, you've got to think he's probably doubtful if it is a muscular injury, but you never know with Bukayo. He's such a machine that he does get himself fit, and his recovery is very, very good, as we've seen in the past. So he might be involved, but if he isn't, what do you do? I thought it was really interesting that he brought Martinelli on for Saka when Saka got injured at the weekend, because you'd always kind of feel if Saka went off, Nicolas Pepe would come on. But the fact that now Martinelli appears, certainly on Saturday anyway, whether it was tactical, whether Mikel just thought he would have more of an impact than Pepe against the defender, I don't know. But it was interesting, I thought, that Martinelli came on ahead of Pepe and seems to be ahead of him in the pecking order all of a sudden. And obviously scored a goal, played well, made a big impact. So you'd think Martinelli would be the man to replace Bukayo Saka at the weekend. So that's an interesting one as well. Martinelli or Pepe, who would you go for if Bukayo isn't fit? Let me know, as always, in the comments below. Not just on that position, but also, would you play Odegaard? Would you play Lacazette? Who should start at left back? Would it be Tierney? Would it be Nuno Tavares? Anything like that, let me know. Who do you want to see start against Manchester United on Thursday night? Should Aubameyang start even? Given Aubameyang's form in recent weeks, should he be a guaranteed starter at the moment? I would suggest no. I mean, you could almost play Odegaard and Lacazette. Play Odegaard in number 10 role and then play Lacazette instead of Auba and have Auba on the bench. Because let's face it, Auba in the recent weeks has not been great. He's been missing chances, not been heavily involved other than that. And so, should he be a guaranteed starter just because he's captain? You'd have to say not really. So that's another one. Should Auba start, or should it be Lacazette up front? Let me know. Hit me up in the comments below. Speaking of Alexandre Lacazette, he's been having a little bit of a say about his future. We all know what's going on with his contract, out of contract in the summer. Not signed a new deal, no deal on the table for him as it stands with Arsenal. Mikel Arteta has spoken about it in the past, as he's calm about the situation. It's something they'll decide in the summer. Personally, I'd be very surprised if Alexandre Lacazette's an Arsenal player next season. I just don't see... I'd be really surprised if he gets himself a new contract. I can't rule it out. I wouldn't rule it out. You never know what they're thinking behind the scenes and what Lacazette's thinking. But in this position, you think Lacazette now's got an awful lot of power. He'll have plenty of clubs after him because he's a good player, Lacazette. He'll have plenty of clubs after him, and he'll be getting some very, very good offers as a free agent in the summer. And I bet he'll be getting better length contract offers than he would probably be getting at Arsenal, should Arsenal decide to give him offer him a new contract once this one runs out. So I'd be surprised. But he's been speaking about it to Telefoot over in France. He says, of course, my agents are starting to look to the right and to the left, but not until January. I really want to focus myself on something, and then we will see what is on offer. If the challenges are interesting, if there are beautiful projects, and how those teams are counting on me. So there are still many questions, but I prefer to wait until January to position myself. Now, obviously, in January, he will be free to speak to whoever he wants, because he'll be a free agent in the summer. And I'm sure there'll be lots of clubs. I mean, I've seen Barcelona have been linked with him. I think Sevilla are looking for a potential new striker as well. I'm not saying that's going to be Lacazette, but they're a club potentially who could be in the market as well. Whether he will go to Barca, I have no idea. But he's been linked recently with a potential move over in the Spanish press to them. And in January, he can talk to who he wants, and good luck to him, because I've liked Lacazette. I don't think he's quite hit the heights we were all hoping for when he arrived in 2016, wasn't it, for £50 million, his club record signing at that point. But I still think he's had a decent time at Arsenal. He's in Player of the Year once. He scored a decent amount of goals, maybe not as many as we were hoping, but he's been a good player. He's not standout. He's not been a great, far from it. But I've liked Lacazette at Arsenal, so good luck to him when and if he does move on in the summer. But here they're saying certainly in January that he will start to look at what the future may hold. And some of you have been saying, should we sell him in January and get some money? And I just don't really see the point of it right now. It's like, you're not going to get much money for him. It'd be a real straight. You'd have to replace him if you sold him, especially with Auba going away for the African Cup of Nations. So and they're not going to really get decent replacement in January. I think Arsenal are certainly going to be signing a striker when it comes to the summer. I can't see that happening in January. I'd be very, very surprised. I think they're going to have to wait to the summer and get at least one striker, maybe two in. There wouldn't be any, unless someone slapped a ridiculous offer on the table for Lacazette in January. I just don't see the point in considering it right now. You may as well just wait until the end of the season, let him get through, do his job between now and then give him a nice goodbye in the summer. So that's what Alexandre Lacazette has been speaking about when it comes to his future. And finally, it's been a very good month for Marcelo Flores, Arsenal's young attacking midfielder, Mexican midfielder, but has links to Canada and England. Flores has been called up, basically, to the senior squad of Mexico. Now, it's a really interesting story, this one. I wrote a piece that went out on Goal last week, I think it was, looking at the sort of rise of Marcelo Flores and his journey to Arsenal so far. It's a really interesting one. He was born in Canada, Canadian mother, Mexican father, born in Canada, raised over there, absolute football nut. His dad got a job working as the sort of head coach of the Cayman Islands. His dad's an ex-professional player from Mexico. Marcelo went over to the Cayman Islands with his dad when he was managing the national team. He got spotted while he was over there by a scout from Ipswich, joined Ipswich. His two sisters play as well. They were both at Arsenal, actually, and now they're playing for Tottenham and Chelsea. Marcelo went into the Ipswich Academy, came over from Canada eventually once all the passports were sorted out and the visas were sorted out. Then moved to Arsenal, I think in 2018 he moved to Arsenal, and he's been making real big strides since he's made the move to Arsenal. Had a really good start to the season with the under-18s, went away with Mexico for the Revelations Cup last month, was the absolute star of the tournament, scored against Brazil, scored against the United States, was player of the tournament. It was under-18s, I think it was, or under-20 or under-20s maybe, and literally Mexico went nuts for him. Everyone was demanding he called up for the senior side, because at this stage he still could represent Canada, he could represent England. Canada called him up a couple of it was the end of last year, but he couldn't go because of COVID. England have had him over for an under-16s camp while he's been over here. They could be interested as well in him. And Mexico have tried to kind of steal a march on everyone now, because he's obviously come through their youth system, playing for their youth teams. They've now called him up to the first team. He's flying out there tomorrow, and they've got a friendly next week against Chile in the United States. Now, it is outside of the international break, so Mexico had to get permission from Arsenal, and Arsenal have granted him that permission, even though it means he's going to miss the FA Youth Cup match, which is coming up. But it's not an official international, so I think even if he does play for the first team, for the senior squad in that game, that does not mean that that he's committed to Mexico and that he can't decide to opt for Canada or England further down the line, because it's not an official international, this one. So it's an interesting one. I mean, it's great for him, great for his dad. He's a very proud Mexican as well. So congratulations to Marcelo Flores. But this doesn't end. I don't think this ends the sort of saga of potentially who Marcelo might end up representing. Canada and England are still on the agenda, or they are still sort of hovering in the background. Personally, I still think he'll probably end up choosing Mexico anyway, because he's come through, he's playing for all the youth teams, and this is a big moment for him. I know it's a big moment for his dad. But yeah, congratulations to Marcelo. What a fantastic couple of month he's had, and only going to get better. So I'll watch that game. I think the game is next Wednesday. I think it's Thursday AM over here, like 2 o'clock in the morning or something on Thursday, but it's Wednesday over in the United States that he'll be in action. Hopefully he'll get his first minutes for the Mexico senior side, so congratulations to him. Alright everyone, that's about it for today's video. Thanks for watching. As always, appreciate your time. Like I said, I will be at London Colney bright and early in the morning, 9 AM, so keep your eyes peeled on my social media for all the updates from Mikel Arteta's press conference. Hopefully we'll find out the very latest when it comes to Bukayo Saka and his fitness ahead of the game against Manchester United. Until then, have a very good day everyone. Stay safe, and I'll speak to you very soon.